never ban. All them as and cars now, with your baggy up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flex me a baggy up. So, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode 23 of Crossroads in Boxing. Thank you for joining us tonight. Crossroads, there we go. I'm not going to point where everyone is because I've been told I'm wrong every time. But tonight we've got Ricky, the Hands of Stone. We've got Eric ERF, myself, CJ Spate, and we are raring to go tonight. We've got a good show planned, guys. Are we all good?
Yeah, good man. Excited for this one.
Good. Ricky, you all good?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I am all good. Who got comments already?
Before we get into our introduction, guys, of who we have on our show, we do have a special guest on tonight. Finally, he's been waiting to get on. We've had a few ups and downs. We'll just take a moment to go to advertisement for one of our sponsors, D-Rock Commercial Clothing. Sorry. Boys, we're back.
We're back.
Where have we all been?
It feels like forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like we need to apologise to the people because, last week StreamYard had a glitch from 7 o'clock till 9:30. So our show had to be cancelled, and unfortunately for Jack, he was meant to be on, but we have got him today. So I'll leave it to CJ to tell us. Tell us a bit about Jack.
I feel like I keep jumping across there, guys, catching me out. Tonight, guys, once again, thank you everyone who is tuned in with us live now, or who is going to tune in afterwards to watch our show. We have Jack Gladman on the show tonight. Anyone involved in boxing, they should know that name if they don't already, and they will get to know it if not in the future, because he's making a storm. He is boxing's youngest matchmaker. Now into management as well, and not just that, something else that me, Rick and Eric I think is absolutely quality is a world-class athlete as well. T38 1500 meters 2017 World Para Athletics Championships. I mean, that is something in its own right, Rick, isn't it?
It's pretty impressive, yeah. It's faster than what I can go anyway.
We're really excited to get him on. He always joins in with our boxing league. He's always commenting on things, so he's involved with the show anyway. Luckily enough, I got to meet him when I did my trainers and seconds course up in Glasgow. Lovely guy, really knowledgeable about boxing. Obviously, this is his everything. So really looking forward to having him on. Before we go live, Rick, what other news have we got in the world, mate? Just while Mr. ERF's.
We've got a few events on this weekend. Stevens is on, I think, is it Friday night for him? UFC Fight Pass have got a boxing show on, and I don't know what the story is behind that. They seem to be stretching into the boxing universe a little bit. Now I'm just thinking, is that their first show for boxing, UFC?
I don't know of one, if there is, mate, being honest.
Yeah, it's this weekend. Callum Walsh, got it up here now. Callum Walsh, it's on UFC Fight Pass. I don't really know any of the boxers on there, if I'm honest. I'm not sure if you know any of them, but yeah, it's a strange one because he seems to be getting more and more involved in boxing. Is that to do now with the potential setup of the boxing league, or is it to do with maybe look, obviously he nearly had that chance to promote the Crawford and Canelo show, which never came into fruition due to another UFC event. But is this now Dana White trying to sort of announce himself slowly into the boxing world?
He's got the power to, hasn't he? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
he certainly has got the power and the beef to do it. If he wanted to take over, he wanted to make a storm. I actually don't think there's too much anyone can do about it once he gets his money involved.
Yeah. Eric, you're on mute, bruv.
My bad. Yeah, the Dana thing, it's good for boxing though. It's good. It's someone new, it's someone different with a different idea. You don't get the UFC to where he's got it without knowing what you're doing. A boxing fan, a lot of boxing fans just don't like the thought of an MMA guy coming over to boxing. It's all just like petty child playground sort of, they was over there, why are they coming over here sort of thing. I think Dana will be good for boxing. He's got the Crawford and Canelo fight. He's promoting that.
I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if he got.
No, he is. He's promoting it on Netflix. Yeah, he's
right,
and TKO are promoting it on Netflix. So we'll see how that show goes because Dana's a good promoter. He is. You see it with the UFC.
He's been good with the UFC.
Lisa says,
that's massive in itself, though, isn't it? Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
No. Lisa says, sorry, I've not watched for a few weeks. Well, we wasn't here last week, so you didn't miss anything. We wasn't here.
Yeah,
go on.
So the boxing league, the thing I'd like to see boxing do away with, and people know it's a big gripe of mine anyway, is all the weight classes. One weight class, so welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, cruiserweight. None of this light, none of this super bullshit. I can't be asked for that anymore. Let's expand the gap between them, make them a little bit heavier so we're not struggling to make weight, and do that sort of setup. Get rid of all these titles. Interims. I mean, I've got a gripe with interims, but there's just been that many. This weekend's an interim. Joseph Parker, Chisora, interim. There's too many interim fights going off. There's Commonwealths, there's British, there's English, there's Worlds, there's Internationals, there's Intercontinentals, there's Europeans. There's fucking too many titles in boxing. We need to like just sort of simmer it down a little bit, get rid of some of them, and make it a bit more. There's too many titles, boys. It's a bit like watching like UFC. It's one more title in it. There's none of this other shit. Do you know what I mean? There's no. You get what I mean, though, don't you?
I like the British scene. There is regional titles. I understand, but the sanctioning bodies having interims and champions in recesses and silver champions and gold champions, and that's just too much. That's just you're charging fighters for no reason because nothing happens with most of these titles.
There's too many governing bodies. Get rid of WBO, WBA, WBC, IBF, IBO, and all that. Do it, and then UFC as well. I'm hoping that when they come in, I'm hoping that the boxing league takes off. The ranking systems actually mean something, and we get a proper a governing body in place because there's that many world champions. There should be one world champion. Should be one.
You'll have to excuse Mr. Hand, ladies and gentlemen. He's like a bear with a sore ass today once he gets going. No, you are right, mate. There's when I was growing up watching boxing, you're quite a bit older than me, Ricky, aren't you? So you might be different for you. But, it was always you've got your central areas, northern area, whatever. Your English title, your British title. It used to be like Commonwealth, then European, and then you knew you was ready for the Worlds. There's nothing wrong with that structure. That structure was fantastic. And like you say now, there is a lot of politics in the boxing. There's so many Mickey Mouse titles, which I don't mean any offence or disrespect to anyone because winning the title is absolutely fantastic. But it's when you get to this world level, we don't need to see Joseph Parker fighting for an interim. He doesn't want an interim, I'm sure. He wants to go there for all the marbles. You know what I mean?
How I think it should work, right, is how we should list it. I think you're on mute again, Eric. But what I'd say is get English, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, whatever. They should fight for the British, and then the British go up against the Europeans and all that, and that's how it should work out. But CJ, do your announcement quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, he popped up and shocked me. Then we've got Jack Gladman on. Jack, thank you for joining us, mate, and I hope you're well, pal.
Hi, guys. You can hear me, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
Absolutely, mate.
Cool, because I've had that before where it's not come up on the audio. By the way, with what you were saying with the English, Scottish, Welsh thing, the only problem would be with that is certain. The issue with Northern Ireland is a lot of them consider half consider themselves Irish, so they go down the Irish route, and they want to fight, obviously, in Ireland, and half the Northern Irish fighters are on the BUI. I only know this because I've got an Irish manager's license as well as my British one, so.
You've ticked off one of my questions already there, Jack.
I was just digging you out of any potential hole you were going to get in there.
Nah, not deep.
While we're on that topic, we might as well stay on that topic if you guys agree with me. What's your thoughts, Jack? Like Ricky's just said then, there is now so many interims and intercontinental titles and silvers, bronzes, gold. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think there is too many?
I'm cool with them having one ranking belt, but do we really need 27 of them? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't mind each governing body having a European. Like, that's fine. Or, like, having African or whatever. That doesn't affect the rankings. But we only need the silver title, I don't mind. Because what that is it gets you a top 10, 15 ranking. Fine. If you want to put a belt there. But we don't need a silver title, an international silver, an international, continental breakfast at this point. Like, my mate, flagged me off because his fighter fought for one on a reality show. But I was laughing at him because he had the 2 continental titles put on the fight, and he didn't ask for them. The opponent did, but I just said, by the way, you're going to be ranked in a governing body somewhere. I said, and really, this fight should not be where it is. And, it's quite funny. But I just find that there's too many of them. And you've also got youth titles. I mean, I just had a fight was involved with fight for a Commonwealth youth title. I'm cool with them, but where they fit into everything, I have no idea. Because
that's a weird one because I remember Devin Haney winning the WBC youth
he won
title.
The WBC youth world title, didn't he?
Yeah, world title, and that.
Fighting for either the silver, who's up my way is either fighting for the silver WBC youth silver or youth world title or something. Which I think they do have a place, but I don't know where they fit in because I can't.
No.
It's like a weird belt, but yeah, I do think there's too many continental and God knows what else titles.
A lot of people as well.
If any of my fighters choose to fight from, you're welcome to, but
a lot of people I know as well lost interest in the sports just because they couldn't keep up with everything that was going off. 1 minute there's a champion here, then there's the exact same champion over here, but different fucking governing body. So it creates a lot of confusion, especially to casual fans as well.
I was away this weekend just for nothing related to boxing. I went to watch Soccer Aid with a friend of mine who's who kind of got a little bit into boxing on the casual side just because I work in it. And he said, I don't ever see a TV fight where there isn't somebody on the card fighting for some kind of random belt. And I was like, yeah, that is kind of a thing now.
It's just a selling point for the networks, though. I remember PBC used to do it a lot. It's a selling point. You say world title, every casual fans obviously will think, oh, the best people are fighting. But then you're talking silvers and golds and intercontinentals. It's just a lot. It does water the sport down as well.
Does somebody want to explain to me where that I should know this, and I literally manage fighters, but I have no idea where that WBA gold belt fits into anything. I could literally, not that I've had a fight for that.
I thought they got an order to liquidate those belts though, the WBA by I think was it the ABC Commission?
The Boxing Commission's asked them to get rid of a load of them. Yeah.
That was 2 years ago, I'm sure. It was either last year or 2 years ago they did that. And
they had 3 years to do it 2 years ago. So we've got a year.
Oh, right, okay.
By the end of December 2026, I believe. If I read that right. By the way, I have no idea because I've got no fighters up that high.
So just a quick type in there. I've got it down as it's the gold is basically the title that gets you the shot at the interim. So it's like linking one to the other.
Interim title? Like what?
It's not the interim. The whole point of the interim is supposed to be where a normal world champion, for some reason, is incapacitated to the point they can't defend their belt. So they have someone interim step in to defend that belt for them.
The original purpose of interim was to keep an undisputed champion. So, I mean, kind of actually what's going on with Parker is what the interims were originally created for back in the day, so that you didn't end up with someone losing their belt because they had other mandatories. So I kind of get. So actually, weirdly enough, the Parker situation is what the interim was supposed to do, but
then
they created need one. So I don't really understand.
I don't really get it though, because the Parker one, he was supposed to fight obviously Dubois. Is his next fight against Chisora for the interim?
No, so that's never been announced. So unless I've missed it.
Well, I'm going with Root. Will his next
I was going to say that's rumored. I have no idea.
No, will his next fight be for the interim?
Chisora's actually Dubois' mandatory now.
Yeah. So was Parker.
No, Parker is Usyk's mandatory.
Or is Usyk?
Yeah, so I mean. Basically, this is the situation. Basically, despite the fact if Dubois had walked to the ring against if Parker had walked to the ring against Dubois, the interim title would have ceased to exist.
Yeah.
But because he didn't fight, he keeps the interim title, so he's still.
Yeah, the WBA, is it the WBA one?
Atoma would have been Usyk's mandatory if Parker had walked to the ring. Which is mental. Like, so Usyk kind of did not, but next in line, from what I believe, would either be Chisora or Parker.
I saw something today that was FA Jagba
versus Frank Sanchez.
Yeah.
Because the IBF is owed a mandatory. Basically, whoever wins the IBF belt is going to have two mandatories back to back.
Yeah.
They won't get a voluntary.
Right.
But if they
win, belt's going vacant. So that belt's going to go vacant.
Belts, they go round in the order of the mandatory. So you'd be like IBF, then WBO, then WBA, then WBC, then straight back to IBF. So basically, the next four would have to be all mandatories, which is never going to happen, and it means the belts are going to fragment again.
I'm a fucking fail.
I'm just sitting there and going.
We should. While we've got you, Jack, should we get some comments out, because we've got loads of comments stacking up.
Yeah.
And then we can actually ask you some questions, Jack, and get to know you a bit better.
One second, let's go through these. I thought Ricky was rapping. Mandy says, "Go on, CJ."
Hi, Mum. Mandy Spirit saying hi, guys. How come? Big up, gents. Hope you remember me, Jack.
Remember you, Ra.
Who can forget Ra?
Who can forget Ra, man? He's Undertaker.
The reason for more governing bodies was because fighters get frozen out by a powerful champion or promoter. Thank you.
Yeah, you can get away. You can get around that with an independent regulator, surely.
Look at Canelo. The WBC and WBA take orders from him.
Comment.
Exactly that. 9 champions in a weight class. I don't know how people keep up these days. That's from Jack McDonald. Thank you, Jack, for joining in, mate. So the WBA has a super, regular, interim, and gold champions. Yeah, it's just mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental.
The super shouldn't exist. It was basically created to make Klitschko hay. Basically, everyone makes a big thing about, the super's a real world champion. The one with the history that Tyson had was the regular world title.
Yeah.
They just created the belt so that they could have a WBA title.
The super don't have any mandatories. It's only the regular that has mandatories. It's weird.
Well, it literally makes that belt sound shit. Just a regular belt.
The regular title.
Just a WBA.
It makes it worse. It makes it worse that the WBA is the longest serving
one,
as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you doing this? The WBC already create belts for every single fight. Every occasion they create a new belt. So it's a strange one.
Oh, one second, lads. They're trying to award you a WBA belt.
Listen, I'll take it. I'll take it.
All day long. If there's the podcast title coming our way, we will take that.
Yeah, we'll take the Facebook one, seeing as it's our first time going live on Facebook. So
I would have checked to see if we're even live. Are we live? How do we?
We are live.
Yeah.
I've just probably really upset the WBA and done all my fighters in. And, I like the world title. I just think there's too many titles.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump in first, lads, and then we'll rally through some questions. Jack, on our show, mate, we like to do things a little bit different if we can. I just explained before you was live on air. I got the pleasure of meeting you up in Scotland, doing our course together. If you remembered.
I was thinking, I knew I'd met you somewhere, and I'm trying to think where it was in Scotland. That was.
Yeah, he was doing our course, but basically we like to get other views, other aspects of boxing involved. So we got to interview Adam Smith, which was amazing. Obviously, from a commentator's point of view, in the pipeline, Ez has got us one with a boxing sort of writer and author who sees a different point of view. We had fighters on. Yeah. So yourself, manager and youngest matchmaker, how have you?
At the time, I think I was second youngest ever. I don't think obviously I've got older. I don't think anyone's gone under me age-wise, but obviously I've got older, so now there are people younger than me. But
you keep that title though. What you at the time?
Yeah, I'll keep it at the time.
WBA gives you your title. Keep it.
Yeah, I feel like the WBA will give me something, so it's cool.
But how did you get here? Why this route? Why managing? Why matchmaking? Because not a lot of people know a lot about matchmaking. If I was hand on heart, I would say John Pegg is the biggest and most known matchmaker I know.
He's got to be up there. He's certainly in the top three. I'm trying to think if there's anyone. Probably him or one of the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
From like Golden Boy had a fairly well known one a few years
back. What is it? Is it Eric Garcia? Is it? Eric Garcia. I think it's something like that.
Yeah, they had.
Eric, someone like that. I can't remember the name.
I know, but there's a few, but basically I got into it because I just sort of started. Me and my mate used to go to fights all over, and then we sort of started fantasy doing it one night in lockdown. And he basically told me to do something about it because I was moaning about, funny enough, I was moaning about people fighting from journeyman and then just randomly jumping in and fighting for like the English and the British and just skipping up about 1 million levels. So then he told me to do something about it. I tried to get my manager's license because naive, didn't know really much about it. I just thought, well, I'm just going to manage some people. Because my sister's been into boxing since I was a little kid. So she's gone. She used to go and watch her friend box and stuff like that. She's a fair bit older than me. So, but obviously you contact the board and they're like, look, you got to be in this for 3 years. So I thought, what else could I do? I can't be a trainer. I don't know enough to train anybody. So then I sort of learned a bit and thought, do you know what? I'm applying for my matchmakers. Forgot about it. And then, so this was probably November time. I get a text randomly. I used to work in a school. I got a text at lunchtime randomly. Hi, Jack. This is from the Northern area. This is such and such from the Northern area because I won't give his name out on air in case he doesn't want a million people knowing. If you want to know, look up on the board's website and you'll know his name. But we'd like to invite you to an interview. Okay. So I went to Sunderland, went to the interview. It was actually an interview in a boxing gym. Weirdly, baptism of fire, I met Tom Stalker literally the first day GB captain, and I met him the first day I was ever in the, So they approved it. It went to Cardiff. Cardiff went, yeah, all right. Not really sure why we're giving you a license. And then sort of kicked off, and it didn't go well at first. The first promoter I worked with, it didn't work out. I was actually not going to do it anymore, and I was ill off work, and I got a text off Lee Eaton, and he was like, "Look, you still got a matchmaker's license?" I was like, "Yeah." He went, "Well, look, I'm quite busy with doing the title fights and stuff." He was promoting at that point. He was like, "Look, I'm doing the title fights. Do you want to do a few 4 and 6 rounders for me? What do you charge?" Blah, blah, blah. So I told him the amount, which is completely changed now because money and stuff. I still don't charge as much as some people though. And so then I started doing a bit for him, and then a few more promoters took me on. A promoter in the Northeast took me on, and then a few in London, and then it just snowballed. And then I went full time. About a year in, I I texted Lee and said, "Look, if I did this full time, would it be viable?" And he went, "It would be hard, but you could do it because I'm giving you enough work that you could potentially do it." He said, "You might have to up your price a little bit because if you haven't got a normal wage, you're going to have to be able to live." And so I did that. And then when you met me, I was about 2.5 years in, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I think I said to you on that day, "Oh, I'm going to get my managers in like 6 months."
You did, mate. Yeah, I remember.
The day I was eligible to get my managers, I think I actually rang them and got them to send it out. So it got there the week, 2 days before I was actually eligible. So I was like, right, filled it in, sent the form off. So literally the day I was eligible, they got it at the board. And I got an interview quite quickly. And I don't know, I've been told off sort of away from behind the scenes that someone pulled some strings because you now have to do an extra course to be a manager. You didn't used to, but now they actually have like it's like we had to do for our seconds, but you're on your seconds and your trainers, but it's online, and it's to do with your manager's stuff, and you have to do the same one for being a promoter. And someone pulled some strings, and I suddenly found myself at the top of that list to go on that. So I did it, and I actually did it with a couple of decent level fighters, but I'm not going to say who because one of them doesn't manage themselves, and I don't know if I want to out him.
Fair enough, mate.
Manager's license. One of them does, but he was really it was really easy to do it because I had the knowledge from 3 years of working in the sport. Then I was kind of lucky when I got my manager's license. There was a few people up here. There was a fighter up here that came out of contract, a guy who's was Northern Area champion, and I'd always got on with his trainer. I'd matched him a few times, and a fight came up in America, and I tried to get him the fight in America, and we had it, but there was an issue with his medical, and the fight couldn't go ahead. But the process of doing it, we found out he was out of contract, and right. I never thought to check really, because his trainer had basically been managing him, because his manager just didn't. There was reasons, and his manager just let him, the trainer, handle it, and so I said, "Well, I'll give you the fight, but I want to manage him." I said, "Because you need a manager. I don't want to bring a fourth person into this conversation. I've got my manager's license. I'll just manage him." So we signed all the stuff, and then as that fight fell through, then we were sitting at home, sort of licking our wounds. That cost me money because I ended up having to pay back the flights from America. I could have argued that point, but it was just like, so then I sort of licked my wounds off that. But anyway, we were sitting at home, and I called up Steve Lillis, who works for GBM, who was working for GBM at the time. He's not now. I called him up and I said, "Look, we were trying to get a keep busy fight for this lad," and I said, "Steve, would you do you have any slots left on your show?" And he went, "Well, no, but would he? Your lad's going up to light heavy, isn't he?" Adam's with you, and he's going up to light heavy, isn't he? I went, yeah, why? And he went, would he fight Brad Ray for the Commonwealth Silver? I was like, probably. Let me. And he gave me the money, and I said, well, let me call him. So I called called Jordan. I went, Adam in the gym with you? He went, yeah, why? I went, would you fight Brad Ray on 4 weeks' notice? And he went, and Adam went, too effing right, I would. So I was like, right, okay, I'll call him. He said, what's the, and then as I was about to put the phone down, Jordan went, should have asked this, what's the money? And I told him, he went, nah, we'll definitely do it for that. So, so I called Steve back, we made the fight, and we literally just had to wait for the sanctioning. I think barring the sanctioning, I think the fight was made in an hour and a half. It's genuinely probably the quickest they've ever made a title fight. And then that unfortunately came up short in that fight. I also ended up with my Irish license slightly before that. But the Irish process was slightly different. Like, I didn't have to go through a lot of the things I had to go through on the British one, but I actually had to ring the British board and find out what the stance was on me having a license in another country. But apparently, because of for political reasons, it makes a lot more sense for certain, where you can sometimes manage international fighters on a British license. For political reasons, they prefer you not to do that in Ireland on a British license. So they said, look, the easiest way for us to do this would be you get an Irish license. And this fighter had asked me, because I knew his brother-in-law, would I take him on? Unfortunately, he's no longer with me. We haven't fallen out. He just chose to go his own way. I released him, but I got him 2 fights before I released him. So I gave him 2 fights to the start of his pro career. But in the meantime, with all this going on, I got Heppel a win back. And then, it's out there on social media now, so I can say it. We're fighting a week Friday at York Hall. We're fighting Zach Chelly for the English title.
Zach
I've seen
Shelley's
this on
back
your
to
socials.
English.
Sorry?
How come Zach Shelley's gone back down to English level? Because I'm sure he was. Didn't he just fight for?
He lost the British title.
Yeah, I know he lost it. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's gone up to British level. He's gone back down to English level to fight for.
So he wanted this fight initially just to be a random keep busy fight, and we wouldn't do. Okay. We wanted to fight for a title. So then I think he's just kind of I think for him it's more about he wanted a credible opponent. And for us, it's more about we want to fight.
Right, that's understandable. I just thought it was a bit strange. Yeah,
we'd won the area title at super middle. He'd won the British title at super middle, and we were like, "Look, we're going to light heavy. You're going to light heavy. Let's just fight each other." And just having the belt on it sells the fight a bit.
Yeah.
No, don't we know?
Don't
fucking know.
Jackie, see what you've done now? You've put a belt on the line and Ricky's upset.
Well, look, we put a traditional belt on the line. We could have gone and put a
it is a traditional one. I don't mind.
Jack, just a quick question. What progression have you got in mind? Is it being a promoter after obviously you've got your manager's license and stuff like that? Is it being a promoter?
I've always said I wouldn't promote, but I've always said I wouldn't promote, and financially right now I couldn't. Like, I'm 28. I do not have the money to promote. If for whatever reason I had a situation like Ben Shalom got, where Sky or TNT or like DAZN came to me and said, "Here's a budget, go promote." Yeah. Would I give it a go? Probably. But I'm not saying never now, whereas when I first started, I said never. And now I'm saying not.
What's changed? What's changed to never to maybe, if the opportunity?
Because I've been asked a couple of times by fighters.
Right.
Like, you pretty much you've done a lot for my shows, and I've worked with a lot of promoters. I've worked with. Where are you guys based? Just so I say this.
Yorkshire,
Yorkshire.
Doncaster. Doncaster.
Yorkshire. See, I'm Mark Bateson's matchmaker. So
Right, okay,
cool.
Right,
Cool.
yeah. I mean, I've done Mark's a lot of Mark shows. I've done the odd bit for GBM, but I've never really been their full matchmaker. Bar the very first show, I think I was the full matchmaker. But beyond that, I don't think I've ever been the. And then I've done bits and pieces for Dennis Hobson. I've done bits and pieces for everyone, but so I learned from watching all of them do it and go, well, that went well, that didn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid that, or I'm going to do this, and
On your part, is it easy to work with the promoters, or are some promoters quite difficult when you come to them with matches, matches and stuff like that?
It depends who the promoter is, and also it's more the managers that decide on the matches.
Right. Okay.
So if it's let's use CJ as an example. If you're managing a fighter, and I come now sometimes I go directly to the manager. Sometimes I'll just go to the promoter. Depends how well I know you. Like if you were managing a fighter, I'd probably just message you and go, CJ, what do you think of this opponent?
Yeah.
And you'd probably tell me to get lost, and then I'd have to go back. The only one that works slightly differently is Anthony Manning, who I work with in Birmingham. He always likes me to send him a list of 3 or 4 names and said, right. And so normally I'll send him a list of maybe 5 names, and he'll say 1, 2, 3 in that order. If you can't get him, get him. Can't get him, get him. If you can't get him, get him.
Right. Okay. I always thought that.
Say, get this specific person.
Yeah, I always thought that's what it was going to be like. You gave a list to I'm saying your fighter or a manager, and they would pick out of that list who they wanted to fight, preferably.
Like if we won the English and we had a voluntary, I mean, the plan might be to go British route if we won the English. I don't know. I haven't discussed it with Heppel and Jordan, but if we were to get, let's say we had a voluntary and I manage Heppel, I might get 4 or 5 names that I think would get approved and say to Jordan, look, I would have to probably run it past whoever the promoter is for the show, but I would probably go to Jordan and go, right, which one of the 4 do you want? Like, who do you want me to go and harass to get the fight? Or do you want me to go down the British route and start banging on doors and phoning up like Billy Joe Saunders and trying to get Edmondson in the ring? Because I mean, it's not going to be easy. Like, even if we beat Chelly, you've still got to do that, And that, by the way, I'm not taking that as a foregone conclusion because that Chelly's a good fighter. I'm not slagging him off.
Yeah. There's a question here. You've literally just asked it, but I'll put it on. Rara asked, how does matchmaking work? Does a manager or promoter ask you to find the opponents and certain criteria, i.e., even fight? Yep. What is it like on a debut stage? What do you look for? If your fighter
debut, it depends on their amateur background, or like if they come from like a kickboxing or an MMA background. Like Heppel never had an amateur fight. He was a kickboxing. I think he might have done some MMA. I've never really asked about it. He just wanted like any journeyman. But like some fighters, it depends what their background is. So I had to do. Who did I do once? I did one of the McGrails once, very early on in their career. A debut. It was maybe their like 2nd or 3rd fight. I think it was Joe. I've done Peter as well, but I think this was Joe. And they wanted somebody who was a southpaw. Yeah. I think it might have been because I'd done the fight before, and it was just get a journeyman, and then the next one it was like he was like, the next one was like, can you get me a southpaw? So then it was like, okay, go down and you only look at southpaws.
Right. Another one here from Ra. Just that says, I've heard if promoters say if a fighter pisses them off or screws them over, they put them in with someone who can KO them.
That's a very old
Confirm
school
or deny.
mentality. I've
That's
never
like
been
Warren
asked.
Ascot.
I've never been openly asked to do that. I've had ones where, and I'm not going to say which promoter this was, but one of the promoters has said and it wasn't me that said this. He's gone to the journeyman backstage and gone, "If you win this, I don't care."
Oh.
Okay,
And that wasn't his fighter; it was like somebody else's fighter. But
Oh god!
they've done something. I think. And the other thing I've heard journeyman do is if the fighter misses weight and doesn't want to pay a fine, the journeyman says, "Well, I'll just beat them then," because 90% of the time the journeyman will beat them.
Right. So I just want to say salute to fellas. Ryan Fraser from Boxing Talk up north. I think he's also a host on the Boxing Voice as well. So thank you for tuning in. What else we got? We got Ra. Ra. I feel like we should have invited you to this, Ra.
Lester Espino. I used him a couple of times, but I used to use him for TV guys that were off TV, or if you had like a TV fight early on. No, there wasn't that. There was an actual reason he had to go back to Nicaragua, but I'll not spread the
disclose that.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Ra, Jack. Ra's the rumour mill round here. Ra likes to stir the pot, get people in trouble. Ricky, do you want to read this next one because it's close to home?
Yeah, Jack. What was your favourite fight that you organised?
Probably of all. It was a fight in Yorkshire. Actually, I put together Louis Horn versus, I think it was it Keenan Wainwright for the Commonwealth Silver, and it ended up being voted. I think it was certainly in the top 3 of Small Hall Fight of the Year, and I was like, "Oh, I've done all right there."
Is that where Jack? Did Louis Horn get dropped early?
Yes,
or
dropped round. And do you know what? He came out and I went, "Oh, for Christ's sake!" Because do you know how that came about? Because that was supposed to be Jeff Ofori, and Ofori was supposed to get the Callum French rematch that never happened because I think French got injured or something. And then when I rang Ofori's manager, Louis' manager happened to be stood next to him, and I was on speaker, and I knew Louis' manager. He went, "Jack, we'll have it if it's going." I was like, "Let me call them, see if they'll fight you." So then I called him, and he's like, "If it's the same deal, then we'll do it." They made the fight, but it was Louis got dropped really early and then came on really strong late. It's a really good fight, actually.
Rick, have you got any questions, pal?
My question would probably be, before you got into management, into the boxing scene, you had a bit of an athletic career. Maybe delving a little bit on that about your background.
Oh, yeah. So the whole para-athlete thing. I try not to mention this unless people bring it up. Because I was from the age of 16 to... was that probably 22 so maybe 25, 16 to 25. I was British #1 as a power athlete over the 1500 meters. I made the 2017 World Power Athletics Championships final. So I've gone and I've shared like trips away with the likes of like Johnny Peacock, Hannah Cockcroft. Who else? I was never in a team with David Weir, but I do know him. Like I've met him and spoke to him, and a few others like Richard Whitehead. Richard Whitehead thought I was a 12-year-old child. That was quite entertaining. Yeah. He was like, I don't actually know how old you are, but you looked about 12, so I was trying to figure it out.
Jack, it's funny you should say that. I get confused with being, because I'm so much younger than Ricky and Eric, I get confused with being
It's full of shit.
at 19, 20
You're like
sometimes.
1 year younger than me, I think. I'm sure.
It's a big year, Rick. It's a big year.
No, but I can probably go on to say, like, obviously, not done athletics probably since I was in school, but like I know like the effort it must take to become a 1500 meter like British #1 as well. Like that's very impressive, to be fair.
It was really hard, but do you know what the strangest thing was? So a lot of the time where I was really good, I was at uni or at school. The strangest one was being 16 at school and you race fully grown men on the Saturday, go into school on the Monday and be sat in a maths lesson. It was just the bizarrest like parallel. And I never really thought about it till years later. And it was like, I was going off and running in Birmingham, then coming back the next morning, like Monday morning, and being like sat in a school as if nothing had happened.
Yeah,
like I won the British title the day after my GCSE maths exam. The first one, and I got 3 in the end, I think.
It's still an amazing achievement. We've got a couple of comments. Can't put them on the screen, but I'll read them anyway. Jack, did you see what happened to that kid Hassan Ali?
Yes,
stopped in the first round of his debut.
I did see what happened, but I'm not going to go and throw the matchmaker for Wasserman under the bus because I quite like the guy. I think the guy that he boxed was a late replacement. To be fair, he was supposed to box someone for me about 2 weeks later, and he didn't because I think he actually hurt his hand off that shot. I think it was his hand or his bicep or something. He was supposed to box Denzel Brown for me about 2 weeks later, and he didn't.
All right, we've also got Ryan Fraser again. He says, I've got to start watching the UK scene. My brother Joshua Fraser, 12-0, 9 KOs, might come across the pond to fight for the Commonwealth title. I know you're in Canada.
I was going to say, Joshua is Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Canadian. He is.
Because I was looking at Canadian fighters today for something, and it came Commonwealth fighters in general, not specifically Canadians.
Yeah, look at that. It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
That's it.
Massive shout out to Andy Allerton who's listening, but he's not very technically minded, so he can't comment. He can't quite figure it out. But yeah, hello Andy, we're all watching you. Oh, we all know you're here. Should I say?
Definitely one of your friends.
I'm now going to go away and watch this guy that's 12-0, 9 KOs because I'm curious to see how good he actually is.
Matchmaking.
There you go, Ryan. We've got Jack's going to have a look at your brother. I have heard Ryan speak about his brother a bit on the Boxing Voice. I tuned into that, so I have heard him speak about it. So it is one to watch out for, I guess. We've also got Lisa who says, Jack, what do you think of kids boxing?
Well, depends what you mean by that. Am I okay with kids? I'm okay with kids boxing. Or is she asking, would I let my kids box? I don't. Really.
Either or. What do you think? Do you think boxing should be in schools? That
I do.
Related.
Do I think it should be in schools? Yes. Do I think necessarily everyone should should we do sparring in a PE lesson? No.
Yeah.
Like, should there be an option if you've got if one of you worked in a school and you had an England boxing badge, would you be able to run an after-school club which had sparring in it? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But
imagine
non-contact wise, in PEs, but I wouldn't run like contact sparring in a PE lesson.
Imagine pissing your PE teacher off. Right, you three on him now. Fucking sort that little shit out.
I went to school with a couple of lads who could box, and I'm just looking at it, going, "Yeah, that ain't going well for me." So, I mean, I'll box anyway, but
it'd make my job a lot easier if they made it sort of in the curriculum, because I've been fortunate enough to do 3 or 4 schools, even if it's just a one-off to teach some boxing inside. So It'd make my money bags happier, that's for sure.
There's one here
Do you want to
from
read?
Matchmake any fighters, which one would you matchmake and why?
Who would I like to matchmake? Do you know who I'd and this is going to sound strange because literally everyone expects me to say Anthony Joshua or Fury or whatever. No, because that's a flipping nightmare. I'd like to do someone like, I'd like to do either Leo Atang or Tia Ayton or Adam Maka. I'd like to do them from debut all the way through. Probably, obviously, Maka's debut, so probably Atang or Tia Ayton, because I'd love to have a go at doing them all the way through. Tia will be harder because the female side of it, but Leo Atang could be fun. I'm not going to announce his name, but I'll drop a little hint that's never actually been put out there yet. I've got a 6'5", 19-year-old heavyweight looking to turn pro with me, so he could be fun to match.
Yeah, we're clipping that.
Oh yeah,
we're clipping it and saving it.
There's also
you'll figure out who it is because he'll share it about 1 million times.
Yeah, we know Lucas. How old is he? He's like 18, 19 in the CG, but he's like 6'9".
Who's that? Sorry,
Lucas. Big Lucas.
Oh, Lucas is massive.
Like
I mean, the last
6'9",
time,
isn't he? And he's like
the last time I saw him at Steffi's, he was like, I think 6'8", 6'9", and then I saw him like 2 weeks ago at Freedom, and he just looked bigger, but he started filling out now, so it's made all the difference.
Yeah.
It was like looking at a bungalow. He was absolutely massive.
I think I've heard of this kid. Is he not like near enough 7 foot?
Yeah.
He's gonna be. I reckon he's gonna be, mate. Yeah.
He's only
I
just
know
turned
the guy you're on about. I didn't actually know his name, but yeah, somebody had mentioned there was this guy that's just like 18, 19, an absolute giant. And I was like,
huge.
If it's the one I'm thinking of.
I took him on pad once and he nearly sent me fucking shoulder at me socket.
Ricky was on pads like this, yeah.
I was like, me.
I mean,
Steffi was like, you're doing it right. You're doing it right.
I never trained fighters. I'm 5'7". I'd absolutely get murdered by this lad. Do you know what? Like, it was funny because I didn't realize he was as tall. I didn't realize he was 6'5" when I was speaking to him initially. And I knew he was like 17.5 stone. I knew he was a heavyweight. And I actually asked it because he was in a photo next to someone I knew. And I said, how tall are you? Because I was looking at him like, you know, this lad's 6'1", like a super middle. And I'm thinking, you're a good 4 inches taller than this kid. What's going on here? And he went, yeah, I'm 6'5" and 17.5 stone. I went, whoa, okay. So you're not making cruiserweight.
I'm size 6'3", and I was like shocked at the size of him. Like there's not many like that have a big towering force over me, and he's a big old boy. There's some real big heavyweights out there, the window.
I've stood next to you. You're not a small guy. Stood next to you. You're not a small guy. Like obviously, I'm.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm 5. I'm like 5. I'm 5. Like I'm 5'9.5", 5'10".
I don't care what you say. You're the same height as me. I'm 5'8". You're fucking 5'8".
Eric's 5'9". Eric's 5'9" on the yellow pages.
I'm 5'7" everywhere apart from Channel 4, who for some reason listed me at 5'9". So every time I meet any African, they're like, we thought you were taller. Brilliant. Cheers for that.
Go on. Do you want it as our?
Yeah, no, Trill. I'm just saying, Trill. Rachel just says IBH North in the building. Hit the like button.
Big up,
Appreciate that, Trill. Ricky,
Trill.
don't get involved in a high conversation.
I mean, he's still taller than me, mate, so I wouldn't.
Ricky's just upset because Ricky's hoping that none of his 17 sons will get taller than him, but it's most likely that they might.
Fucking Jesus, I'm not behind him much longer. They'll be behind me.
And this year so far, what fight have you thought you've enjoyed this year? Out of obviously the big shows, there's been plenty of fights obviously from the beginning of this year.
I'm trying to think.
It's the big show.
There's a few that I've been. Annoyingly, I enjoyed Ben Eubank, and I was like, really don't want to do this, but it was actually a really good fight. And also, people will say, "Oh, it's all fake." Yeah, but I did enjoy the whole Eubank senior manager, the whole WWE thing, and turn up, and that made me go, "What has just happened?"
That
and
was
he was his all-time favorite fighter as well. So I rang her after. I was like, "Did you just see that?"
I'm not.
I'll tell you a quick topic we can just touch on. My opinion, anyway. I think Ricky and Ezra are on my side with this. They should be, because I am the fountain of knowledge. But is that Eubank seems to be like being hounded at the minute, Jack? Do you not think Eubank is getting such a rough ride from either the British board or anyone else involved? I mean, like, he's just been. He's going to have a meeting again. That he's been accused of sauna suiting, or whatever you like to call it, cutting weight in the sauna.
By the way, I get why they're having the meeting, but why was this not like why was the fight? Why did the fight go ahead if they already knew about it? I'm really confused. No, I know exactly the reason. I'm just saying. Like,
because Adam Azim got called off.
It's because Chris won. That's as simple as that. They was hoping he would lose, and that was it. He won.
He was never going to lose.
And that for Matt,
he was physically massive compared to him. So no, he wasn't.
No, but he was fucking skin and bone, weren't he?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's just one of those, isn't it? I suppose. Just can we touch on this weekend? Before.
Yep.
What's coming or what's
coming, boys? So we've got a show, haven't we? So we've got the Galal Yafai versus Francisco Rodriguez. We've got Tia, who Jack Gladman's mentioned her debut this weekend. We've got Pat Brown on, Hamza Uddin, Aaron Bowen. We've got one of my favourites. I don't know how to say his first name. Is it Gio Goy? We'll call him Gio Goy. Visioli. He's very impressive. I like this fight, guys. He's been pretty active as well. We've got Ibrahim Suleiman. I'm not too sure much about him, but Peter McGrail as well. He's making his return. And then Galal fight. Well, he just mentioned. I don't know
what's happened here.
What's happened? I don't know what's happened, and Gladman's gone and all. But we've got
Jack gone.
Conor Walker.
I'm still here, but I don't know why it's somehow.
He's still here. Eds, can we get him on? There he is.
We've got
whoever your tech guy is, we're just playing around and just pressing buttons.
It'll be pressing on buttons when he's out of bed. But
I quite often get logged off, mate.
Conor Walker versus Liam Taylor. That's got he's sort of suspended until September. What's happening?
I have a bit of a connection to that fight.
Go for it.
Okay.
Way back in 2022, and I don't know if you guys. CJ, do you get sent the circulars? I don't know if every last did. Right. So you probably have been around long enough to realise that Liam Taylor has been mandatory for about 6.5 millenniums for some reason.
His name's always there whenever it gets recent.
Must waive their all rights and defend against Liam Taylor, but has never actually defended against Liam Taylor. In 2022, Liam Taylor fought Martin Harkin for one of those belts you love, Ricky, the WBO European, and the British title mandatory. Well, I actually was working with Tom Stalker and we helped make that fight. So it's weird because sitting in 2025, I'd completely forgotten that Liam Taylor was the mandatory because it had been that flipping long. And then it come out on the circular, the last one, and I'm looking at it going, oh yeah, that still hasn't happened, and it's been 3 years.
Boxing's strange when people get into position. You have to have a name for your mandatory to be called, it seems. Unless the promoter.
Taylor was a name, and I still can't quite work that out.
No, well, it depends on who's got the title. It depends on how
At
they
one
move.
point, Liam Taylor was the WBO number 4, but still wasn't getting called. And it was like, what the heck is going on here?
I remember. I know his last performance was absolutely horrendous. But Archie Sharp, I'm sure he was like WBO, like interim or number one
No, it's
mandatory
WBO
at 126. Yeah,
It
at
was
126 for so
mandatory.
long.
The reason he didn't get that was because he lost to some random like Mexican during lockdown.
Really?
I think he lost to him or failed to make weight against him and then won or something. There was some
Right.
something involving some random fight in lockdown, and he's been mandatory for about 16 months or something stupid.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the Shakur's.
I feel like he was Lomachenko's mandatory or something ridiculous.
It was Loma's, and then Loma moved up. Loma moved up, and then Shakur got the belt. I think Shakur got the belt, and he was Shakur's mandatory or number one contender or something like that.
I think he might have been Loma's mandatory or second in line to Loma anyway. And it was like, this is mental because this is never going to happen.
Yeah, well, after his last performance,
is that fight gonna go ahead then this weekend? Because if it's suspended until September, is that off? Will they have a new opponent? Do you think?
What?
Who's that?
For Conor Walker and Liam Taylor.
It does still say suspended on his account. I will say that
it's suspended until September, but it's supposed to be out this weekend. Liam Taylor against Conor Walker.
Liam Taylor.
They've probably just not updated
for the British welterweight.
Why is he suspended? Okay, I don't know.
Suspended on is it on BoxRec? Is it on BoxRec?
BoxRec, yeah.
I see it on BoxRec.
Right, who's suspended him though? Because if Taylor's boxed in like America, sometimes you get suspensions until you do the medical.
It says suspended by British Boxing Board of Control until the 24th of September 2025. But it's supposed to be out this weekend.
I don't know.
So it's not saying. So I've tried to find news articles and everything regarding it, but I can't find anything. So.
I'm assuming that's a BoxRec error. Because he hasn't fought within the last 28 days to be suspended, so I don't know how he would be suspended.
No, that's what I was trying to work out.
It's an exclusive. It's an exclusive, guys.
Yeah. We've got Bilal.
I mean, I know his manager. I might ask him the question, but he'd probably be very confused nowadays like that.
I think it's BoxRec. I generally think it's a BoxRec error.
I think that might actually have happened because at one point it had Liam Smith suspended till 2030 on BoxRec.
Yeah, he needs after that whooping though.
I mean, that might not have been the worst.
Yeah.
But in fairness, that was in California, and I'm like, well, the odds of Liam Smith fighting in California next are fairly slim.
Yeah. There you go.
Go
on, Siege.
I was just going to say we're fast approaching, or we've gone over an hour anyway. I just wanted to say we've probably not even covered. Well, we've not covered a lot of things I've wrote down, to be fair, Jack, but it's just flowed. We've all been chatting away. I'd wanted to say thank you on behalf of IBH North for coming on. I do know you're very busy. I do know after last week we had a bit of an internet system glitch. It's nothing to do with us, mate, but I do apologise anyway.
Well, nothing to do with me fucking not being on the show, I promise.
Yeah, I think Ricky wasn't meant to be on the show, so I think he did something. He phoned StreamYard up or did something to our account. I'm sure something dodgy happened.
But as we say to all of our guests,
just before I just want to shout out my fighter because obviously he is fighting.
Yeah, go for it.
About anyone who's in the London area and you want to get down on the 27th of June, hit me up. I'll try and see if I can sort you out tickets. If not, they'll sort you out buying tickets off Adam. But if not, I'm sure there'll be some on the door because although Adam sells a lot of tickets, not every fighter will sell like that. He's going to fight Zach Cherry. We're going to knock him Spark out. And
good job.
Sorry? And
Get up. Go on.
we're going to win the English title, and we're going to bring it all the way back to the Northeast. So if you're from the Northeast and you want to go down, come join us. I mean, I still haven't quite figured out what I'm doing for a hotel yet. I might actually be sleeping in King's Cross Station, which is a bit worrying because I manage the guy. The promoter will sort it out if I don't. If nothing else, we're good. We think we win, and we think we bring back a title to the Northeast. And it'd be funny if Chelly goes in York Hall and it basically turns into a corner of Seaham.
Well,
really funny.
I'll tell you what, Jack. When you do win that English title, you and your fighter have to come back on here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here and
I'll get him
show off that title.
Yeah, and I'll bring his coach as well. I'll bring all three.
I appreciate you coming on, Jack. It's been a really good conversation. I like this. Hopefully, we can get you on again soon. Anyway, and after that English title win, definitely we'll have you, your fighter, and his trainer on.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, it's nice. As much as I do for him, he does 3 times as much again. I do a lot for Adam, but Jordan is there week in, week out, doing this for him, doing that for him, doing the other for him. If it weren't for him, he wouldn't be. I mean, I'm good. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. I'm good at what I do, but I don't train him, so I don't see him day to day. You know, trainer sees the fighter day to day. CJ will back me up on that.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, you. There's no one deals with your fighters more, obviously, than your trainers and your day-to-day stuff, your life stuff, how the diet's going, how the training's going, if they're happy inside camp, outside camp. It's all.
All I want to say is if you like what you've seen today, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Join in the boxing league, and I'm going to leave you with 2 questions, 2 predictions, Jack. 1, who's the winner of Usyk and Dubois, and who's the winner of Crawford Canelo, and then we'll wrap it up.
Usyk points, Canelo 11th round KO.
Boom.
Boom.
We shall see. But yeah. Again, thank you, Jack, CJ, Ricky, as usual. I will catch you all on the next one. Peace and.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now with your bag it up. I start my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag it up. Say, it's another one, yeah. It's a full strong, yeah. It's another one.